Welcome to the Investor Coaching Show, a podcast to help you get an insider's view of the financial world and escape common investment traps. We look at the financial news of the day and help you make sense of it so you can relax about money. And here's your host, Paul Winkler.
All right, we are back here on the Investor Coaching Show. I'm Paul Winkler, along with Evan Barner. PaulWinkler.com is the website, and you can go there and jump on our calendars. 15-minute phone calls. You want to go, what on earth do you guys do besides joke around on the radio? We are very serious when it comes to what we do, but you can find that out for yourself. And sometimes it's just like going, can you guys help me? That's how you find out. Go on there, get on the website, and then set it up, and then you can talk to any of the offices around town. We got 10 of them. Got to be somewhere close to you. Unless you're one of the growing audience that's all around the country that's listening to the show. So we got lots of people all around the country. But if you're in the Nashville area, well, even if you're not in the Nashville area, you can call because we're nationwide.
That's right.
That's the way we are.
We can Zoom in every time zone on the planet.
Okay, so I have been in a loop, Evan. I have been just loving John Stossel videos lately. I had kind of lost track. We met him you were at the conference where he was at.
I was. That was
years ago.
Right near, I started to say Kings Island, but
I don't
near Great Bear Lodge.
Is that when that was?
Great Wolf Lodge or whatever, up near
Cincinnati
yeah.
In the area. Okay, I remember that. Yeah, okay. So he has some really, really good stuff. So he was doing an interview, and, I made a comment to the group this morning. To all of you, all the folks that we work with around here, we got a big bunch of us, and I made a comment, and you said something. You said, "Oh, Paul, you got to use that for the radio show." And I was like, you know what, Evan, that's brilliant. Yeah, that would be really good for the radio show.
Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then.
No, that's not true at all. So we were just talking a little bit about, this guy selling annuities, and he's replacing old annuities, and he's making this comment that, the old annuities are stinky, they're terrible, and they're lousy, and we got a better one now. And, I'm saying, hey, you know what? Are you telling me that something that didn't work before is going to work now? Why? Because you're the guy selling it? I don't know. I'm not necessarily buying this. But that is the argument when it comes to economic systems.
Yeah.
And we talk about Adam Smith all the time here, Wealth of Nations, when we talk about active management and stock picking, market timing, and where it's used. And more about that in just a second. But he's interviewing a young lady, and she is talking about her run for office. As it turns out, she wasn't old enough to run for office. But she's brilliant, and just the age to run in this particular country was just too high. But anyway, just check out what was being talked about regarding socialism versus capitalism here in this conversation.
I don't get it. They can see it. Look at Uruguay over there. Look at Argentina. Or is it Venezuela? They're not saying we want that, but they think they can get it without the bad stuff?
Exactly. Always says this time is going to work. It didn't work in Cuba because Fidel got corrupted. It didn't work in Venezuela because Chavez died. It didn't work in Brazil because they incarcerated Lula, and now Lula is back in place. And it's always, let's try it with the new guy. The new guy is going to do it better. And it doesn't. It is what George Orwell explained in Animal Farm.
Did you read Animal Farm, Evan?
I did not. I don't know how I escaped that arrow, but I didn't read it.
It was absolutely one of the best reads. I made both my sons read it.
I probably should read it. I read Atlas Shrugged like 6 times before I was 20.
Animal Farm nails it. It's really, Orwell hit it out of the park regarding that particular book. But, the pigs they were referring to right there, the pigs were basically the smart animals on the farm. And the idea was that the farmer was getting rich and the farmer was evil, and we've got to take the farmer down. And, Gloria Alvarez is who he's interviewing right there is just, she's looking at this going, this is crazy. And she talks about the Stockholm syndrome. Why is it these people want to be coddled? They want to be taken care of. And what they do is they draw closer to the person or the group that is actually tyrannizing them, is in essence what she's talking about, right? That's the Stockholm syndrome, basically what it is. Well, what happens in Animal Farm is they convince all the other animals that they need to be in charge. And they won't be evil, but they do end up moving into the farmer's house. They do end up getting all the goods and the goodies. And then they sabotage projects on the farm, and they blame it on the farmer. That the farmer must have stolen in the middle of the night to sabotage this windmill that we made. And, the horses work so hard to put this thing together. And, he must have done this. And they're just, it is all of what you typically see with this. Now, she uses an iceberg in this particular example here. And it just reminds me so much of the investing world that I had to include it here. But this is the issue with regards to socialism versus capitalism. And I'm going to make the investment leap in a second to explain why this is important.
This popular new president of Chile,
35-year-old Gabriel Boric, will become the new president of Chile.
Wants to abolish the successful private pension funds, make public transport free.
Now, let's go back, because when I started this radio show, I used to have a guest on this show on a regular basis. And his claim to fame was he helped set up the Chilean Social Security investments. And we used to talk about this. I would share knowledge. I would share the radio show with him as he shared knowledge with me in the afternoons before I would start the show. Because, it was, he had brilliant insights regarding how investment portfolios should be put together. Well, that was a very successful run with the Chilean Social Security system because they used all of the types of tools and the knowledge processes that we've used for 26, 27 years, I guess it is now, around here. And what he's talking about right there is this guy came in and he destroyed all of this pretty quickly through the socialistic ideas that he brought in.
Universal health care, free. Raise taxes on the rich. End student debt. These are popular ideas here, too.
Yeah, they're popular everywhere. It doesn't matter that they don't work. They sound beautiful and people like beautiful. That's the thing with socialism. It's like a beautiful iceberg, right? In an iceberg, you see the tip and it's all about brotherhood and free stuff and we're all gonna get along and empathy. But in the depths of that iceberg below the sea level is where the misery and the genocide and the injustice and the exiles happen and nobody seems to see it.
And that's the bad stuff. And it's just like that with investing. You hear, when you look at, why do we sound so different, what we do around here? Why does it sound so different than what you typically see? And I was thinking about that. You'll hear from the investing industry. Things like, well, what we're going to do is we're going to help you find the winners. We're going to help you avoid market downturns. We're going to help you, with safety of your portfolio. We're going to get you income that you can't run out of throughout retirement, guarantees. You'll hear that word a lot. And how are we going to do that? How are we going to choose investment vehicles? We're going to choose it on track record because we find the people that have done well in the past. It's going to tell us who's going to do well in the future. We're going to help you avoid losses. We're going to help you manage your portfolio better. And, by the way, and they'll say that we're a fiduciary. And as I've said so many times, that's meaningless. Because I say it's meaningless, it's not totally meaningless, but it is in effect meaningless because they can do so many of the things that academic research shows doesn't work and still call themselves a fiduciary. Now, what's underneath the surface? Higher expenses. Missed upturns. If I pull you out of the market because I want to protect you from the downturn, well, when you're market time, you got to be right twice. You got to be right when you get out, and you got to be right when you get back in. And what we end up seeing is underperformance. And what we end up with is inflation risk with these products that aren't protecting against inflation because they're basically backed by investment vehicles that historically don't and won't protect against inflation, like bonds and fixed income investment vehicles. And then they cap off returns when the markets go up, or they have market participation limits, those types of things. There are all kinds of ways that they actually cut those returns. And yet it sounded good on the tip of the iceberg, on the top of the iceberg that you saw sounded so good.
Right.
Right, Evan?
Yeah.
But when you look underneath the surface, it's really bad stuff. But this is my point. It's a marketing thing. We talk about marketing. When you're marketing, what you do is you come out with what people think that they want. People think that they want guarantees. They think they want safety. They think they want to be protected from market downturns and be pulled out before the market goes down. They think that they, and they do want that.
They do want, yeah.
Yeah. It's not, that they just think that they want it. They do want it. But the problem is they want something that's not possible. Right. And it's just like socialism. It doesn't work. They say in academic circles that communism, socialism exists in just a few places nowadays. Cuba, North Korea, and active managers. And I don't know many investment managers out there. I just don't know many that don't engage in active stock picking, market timing, or tactical asset allocation, or fundamental analysis, or tactical asset allocation. They engage in these types of things. They don't call it that, though.
Or adding private equity to the 401k.
Yes. Or giving you private equity outside your 401k.
Yeah.
So it's almost like unfair marketing, and that's exactly what Stossel said. That's where he went next.
Whereas the capitalist or libertarian iceberg, it sounds horrible in the tip. It's all about selfishness and greed and individualism and capitalism and all these buzzwords that people hate, but it's in its depth that progress and freedom and tolerance and, thriving economies actually happen, right? So we're competing against a very unfair marketing because nobody studies the depths of the history and lessons that economics give us.
That's it. That is a commercial for how we've operated this company for years.
Yeah.
We want you to understand it. The more you understand this stuff, the less scary it is, but the less that somebody can take advantage of you because of your ignorance. Ignorance isn't bad. Ignorance just means that I don't know something. And I don't know what I don't know is the issue. And that is the same exact thing when it comes to economic systems. Now, fortunately, for a lot of people that listen to this station, they know more about economic systems than a lot of other people simply because they have studied it. And that is really where the rubber meets the road. I mean, they're not kidding when they're talking about that. When they jokingly say that, communism, socialism, in North Korea, Cuba, and active managers, why did they make that parallel? What is communism, socialism? We can take a bunch of smart people and put them in the room, and they can tell us better what the true value of goods and services are. And we can price them more accurately because these people are really smart. That's the same idea with active management. We can put a bunch of smart people in managing an investment portfolio that can tell us better than what the market can, what the true value of a stock is, what the true value of a market segment is, what area is going to do better than another. It's the same basic premise. I think it's brilliant to actually make that type of a connection. And it wasn't me that made it. It was somebody much smarter, but I just believe it is just right on. Hey, this is Paul Winkler. Hope you enjoyed today's edition of the Investor Coaching Show. If you want to learn more about what we do, go to our website, paulwinkler.com. Until next time, I'm Paul Winkler, reminding you that I believe that more educated investors are more confident investors, and confident investors are more successful investors. Have a great one. Advisory services offered through Paul Winkler, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Paul Winkler, Inc. does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation.